Big verdicts get headlines,
The best cases weren't going to the best lawyers.
but they don't build a brand alone.
They were going to the best marketers.
If you want to scale a personal injury firm today, you've got to compete like a marketer and operate like a CEO.
And intake is the most important part of your business. The best lawyers in the world can't do anything without the client.
That is Digger Earls. He built Laborde Earls Injury Lawyers into one of the largest firms in Louisiana. 7 offices, 30-plus attorneys, over $1 billion recovered for their clients.
My view of the world these days is you're going to be a litigator or you're not going to be a personal injury lawyer.
This is PIM, powered by Rankings.io. I'm Chris Dreyer. Today, you'll learn how to turn verdicts into leverage, how to use name, image, likeness deals to build instant B2C credibility, and how to run intake like an operator. Let's go. Let's start with the good stuff. What's like a big win you've had recent that you could share?
Well, I got a $5 million verdict last week. So that's my most recent big win. I'm very proud of. Yeah, very proud of it. It was a different case. It was a insurance bad faith litigation. We'd got a jury verdict about 3 years ago, and then got what's called an assignment of rights from the insureds, the defendants, to proceed against their insurance company for the bad faith handling of their claim. And we were able to pop them with a $5 million verdict. So in all, we'll have recovered $6.6 million on a $1 million policy.
That's incredible. Congrats on that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, so a lot of the audience listening, it starts with the leads, right? Like, we got to talk about that. So you're in a tough market, a lot of big firms that have been advertising for a long time. So just, throwing a couple billboards up and doing the basics isn't really going to break through the noise. How do you think about marketing in a competitive landscape like you're in?
Well, I think I've been listening to your podcast for a very long time, and all your guests come on and say, hey, I'm in the most competitive market. I'm in a very competitive market. But I got to tell you, Louisiana, I want to echo those guys, because Louisiana is as tough as it gets, in my opinion. Baton Rouge, Louisiana is the most expensive market in the country. New Orleans is probably number 3 or 4. Lafayette, Louisiana is in the top 10. I mean, it's a lot of ad dollars spent based on the population that we have. Mm-hmm. So it is very competitive. What do I think about marketing? I absolutely hate it. I mean, I wish we didn't have to do it, mm-hmm. but 12 to 15 years ago, when we launched this marketing blitz, we always got cases. We always did a good job for our clients, but we quickly realized that the best cases weren't going to the best lawyers. They were going to the best marketers. We had some very large marketers in our markets that were just the churn and burn, mass advertising, get lots of cases in, get them in, work them up, settle them, get them out the door. And we were litigators. We were fighters. But we saw that we had to jump into that world if we were going to survive. So we did, and we took a different approach. We wanted to keep our litigation practice live and well, but we knew we had to start marketing to be able to get the cases to show our talents. We started marketing, getting cases in, and started kept on litigating them, getting great results. And then, just snowballed one thing into another. Now we have 7 offices throughout Louisiana and still growing.
I've worked with a bunch of PI firms, and, if you look at referrals as a channel to get leads, I've had a few of the non-litigating firms we work with that are big advertisers, and they don't get the pure referrals. Right. They'll get the clients and friends and family stuff. You've put some big numbers on the board, trial first, you said, talk to me through that channel, the peer referrals channel.
We know what our cost per acquisition is. We spend X amount of dollars on marketing. We sign up we get X amount of leads, X amount of those are wanted. We convert, our target is to convert 95% of wanted leads. So we know what that cost per acquisition is. We track everything here, and the best cases seem to come from referrals from other lawyers, right? I mean, we get our fair share just from our brand, but every small town lawyer throughout the country has their cousin or friend or so-and-so who has a horrible accident and a great freaking case, and they're going to their local guy, no matter what. And the local guy may not be equipped to litigate it or try it. And so that's where relationships come into play. And hey, let me take that case on, and, they'll probably pay you $1 million, but if I can get 5, then the client wins, you win, everybody's better off. I really enjoy that part, the business to business marketing. building those relationships and working those cases with mostly young lawyers, but some older lawyers as well. And it's proven to be a very good business model and a good way to build up great cases.
In court, you see world-class B2B marketing in action. Lawyers proving their value to other lawyers. That's how peer referrals happen. But B2C is different. The public never sees the trial, never reads the verdict. So how do you build that same credibility fast? NIL. Name, image, and likeness deals that let you borrow trust from people in your community that they already follow. It's a shortcut to consumer awareness and a modern play that works.
We look for ways to be different. Every lawyer commercial out there when we started this was, stuffy lawyer in the library talking about, I am the best lawyer in the country and you need to send me your case. So when you got a competitive market and lots of lawyers standing there saying, hire me, hire me, hire me, you have to be memorable in that very competitive 30-second TV spot. So through our core value of community, we reached out to Alvin Kamara's team and partnered with him on his nonprofit to give back to our community in exchange for, him participating in some ads with us. The South in general is football crazy, and Louisiana is no exception. It's football. Our football players are legends and heroes, especially Alvin Kamara. I will tell you that the idea came to us about Drew Brees because at the time the Saints had just won the Super Bowl with Drew Brees, and we got the price for Drew Brees, and who's next,
right?
And then we got the next one. We're like, well, who's next? Well, we got this rookie, Alvin Kamara, who seems to be pretty promising. And I knew Alvin Kamara's name from Tennessee, and because I'm a massive football fan myself. So we took a shot on him. He turned out to be Rookie of the Year. His personality was infectious, and people just loved him. And then we've turned that into Bobby Hebert, who's an old retired Saints legend. Now Taysom Hill is our partner now. Taysom's number 7. Our phone number is all 7. So it's kind of a play on that. Mm-hmm. But we really go after really good humans who are on that big football stage and give back a lot to the community through their organizations and our nonprofits and our passions. And it made us stand out. It made us different. And it worked. If national brands have figured out that celebrity endorsements works, why can't that work for our business? So that was our way of thinking, and it's paid dividends.
I completely agree. I mean, looking at the other side, that, you got to look at your competitors and, how they're marketing and stuff. You got, State Farm's got Patrick Mahomes and some of those. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're looking at shoes, and I think Shaq just bought Reebok, and he's trying to resurrect that brand. And so now he's got one of the top golfers, I think DeChambeau. But yeah, so I think it's smart. Do you see like the social proof component? Like, hey, I saw you with Alvin, so they must be great attorneys,
100%. It's almost like it gives you instant credibility. Now, look, when we partnered with Alvin, he was a rookie. So how old are you when you're a rookie? 23, 21, 22 years old. Mm-hmm. So a 22, 23-year-old, because he, has multiple 100-yard rushing games and scores 15 touchdowns in his rookie season, gives me instant credibility. Not my 20 years of service in the legal field and my multi-million-dollar jury verdicts, but to the general public, hey, he's with Alvin Kamara, he's with Taysom Hill. That guy must be stand up. Let's give him a shot.
Yeah, I think to the B2C, that gives you social proof. The B2B to your peers, those big litigating numbers, they know who are the people trying cases.
Well, earlier I told you that we quickly realized the best cases were going to the best marketers, not to the best lawyers. And that's true in the B2C. But in the B2B world, it is the best lawyers getting the best cases. So you do need to prove yourself to those guys. Although I have had referring lawyers ask me for an autographed Alvin Kamara jersey.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. The other thing that I just appreciate, you're so client first, right? It's not just, it's really going the distance. I think that's part of that of that trial. The true trial attorneys, like, they get into it because they want to fight for the client because they're getting undercut. They're not getting what they deserve. Yeah.
We're very data driven. We are extremely client focused, and in Louisiana or whatever market you're in, it's so competitive to get that case. When you get it, you damn sure want to be sure you hold on to it. And then taking it a step further, you do a good job for them. They become your largest referral source or your best advertisement, right? Like I look at our data, and far and away, our number one referral source is former clients or friends and family of former clients. You give them a first-class experience, that Ritz-Carlton experience from the day they walk in the door to the day they walk out the door, and you'll be amazed at the return on investment you get from that. So we've implemented lots of little details along the way to make sure or ensure that our clients have the best client experience there is. The number one complaint we always got was, I never hear from my lawyer. Well, we have checklists in our CRM that every 15 days they hear from their lawyer or the paralegal. 15 days lawyer calls, 15 days later paralegal calls, 15 days lawyer calls, just to check in. Now, I told you we track everything. We track inbound calls too. And you'd be amazed at the volume of inbound calls, the decrease in inbound calls, just because you call them so much, they don't have to call you. They don't call you to complain about, I never hear from you. They don't call you to tell you, hey, I need to go back to the doctor, or I haven't had an MRI, because we're on top of it. You got to talk about something when you call them. So, hey, have you had that MRI? I saw you saw the doctor, 2 weeks ago, and it's been 8 weeks post accident and there's no MRI, or what's the doctor telling you? Those little tidbits, they enter them into the notes section so the next person calling can read them. And it makes for a better client experience and a happier client. And number one, it's all about those 5-star Google reviews, Chris.
Yeah.
And so you get the benefit of that. You get the benefit of their referral sources, and you're telling all their friends in an accident and says, man, I never hear from my lawyer. And they say, well, shit, I hear from mine all the time, so much that I don't have to call them. So client experience is a big deal. So much to us that we hired a client experience manager. Her sole job is mapping out the client journey and maximizing the client experience, whether it's from welcome video, text messages, or, hey, your case has progressed to the next stage. Anything we can do to make a better client experience to ensure that they become a fan at the end is what we want to do.
I got to say, just not too long ago, you went to that Chick-fil-A, I'm looking for that, it's our pleasure, the Ritz-Carlton, it's our pleasure. It just makes you feel good. Keeps you coming back. And the other thing I'll just highlight is a lot of firms I talk to, it's like, oh, we're asking for a review at the closeout, or maybe once or twice. But if you're meeting with them every 15 days, you've got a lot of opportunities to find a moment when they're really happy.
Well, our team are trained on to strike, the best time to get that 5-star review. Maybe it's at sign up. We've had 5-star reviews for our team on cases we've turned down just because they helped them. I'm sorry, I can't help you in this case, but they gave them good advice and referred them to where they needed to be, or, pushed them along the way and just was kind and courteous and said, hey, would you mind leaving us in a 5-star review? So it doesn't have to be at disbursement. It can be at sign up. It could be any good interaction along the way. Is an opportune time to get a 5-star review.
You can have the best marketing in the world, but if your team can't convert calls into cases, it's all wasted spend. Intake is the engine room, where tech, training, and speed decide your ROI.
So intake, when we started this process, if you'd have told me, intake team, or,
yeah,
I'd have been like, you're crazy. Like if somebody calls and wants to hire us, if they, we get them 100% of the time. Well, when you start advertising and that volume comes in and you start really looking at the data, you start to understand what you're missing. So if you're listening to this podcast and if you don't know that intake is the most important part of your business, you need to really you need to take a deeper look at your business, because, the best lawyers in the world can't do anything without the client. And if you don't have a refined intake process, you're not getting that client, and they're going to go home and see 100 other television commercials and 100 other billboards, and they're going to hire your competitor who has their intake process refined. So we use Litify. We've come a long ways in Litify. We have KPIs established for our intake team. We have team leads on intake. We have openers and we have closers, like the guys, the intake teams that get the client. If they can't close it, then it goes to a closer, someone who's really proven that they close higher volume of cases. We have an intake attorney whose sole job is overseeing the intake process and being there when, hey, I want to talk to a lawyer, or if someone's on the fence, hey, how about I get a lawyer on the phone to answer your questions? When we started really diving deep into our intake numbers, we were converting about 84% of wanted leads, which was just embarrassing. And our goal now is 95%. And I'm happy to say, as we sit here today, it's about 95.4% of wanted leads.
That's incredible. I like the extra touch with, hey, get the lawyer on the phone. And you got the going to the closer if you got one that's kind of, him and hawing around, because it is sales. You do have to close.
Look, we've spent so much time focused on intake and training and, listening to those phone calls. Our entire intake team now has mirrors at their desk so they can see themselves while they're on the phone with the client. Because if you have the resting bitch face, that's coming across to the caller, right? And that's not what we want. So we want them to see themselves, be happy, and hopefully relay those emotions to the client, being compassionate and a pleasure to listen to.
That's smart. What, one of the things just on the Litify, cause I don't know. I know it's built off of Salesforce. One thing that intrigued me, and I thought maybe you could just touch on it, was they have this, like, I guess, a referral portal that makes referrals easier. Could you just briefly, because I have no idea how that works. Could you just give me a little?
Yeah, it's no different than there's lots of, attorney share with Bob Simon. I know you know Bob
Bob's
Simon.
Great. Attorney share is great.
Attorney share is one of those platforms. Michael Mogul and Chris have their own file share deal as well. Litify is no different. It's just a way of putting together partners from around the country. We advertise in Louisiana, but maybe the Louisiana guy was in Colorado and got in a car wreck and needs a lawyer there, and they call us because they're from Louisiana, and I'm looking for a referral partner. So it's just a referral network within Litify.
Let's talk about the trial side. Let's talk about ops.
Sure.
So
sure.
Some firms they'll have a pre-lit department, and then a case gets flagged, and then it goes to trial, the trial pods. Like how are you set up? How have you seen the most success to kind of handle, because you're advertising for the volume, but then you got the A, B's, and C's, those tier 1 cases come in. Right. So talk to me about that.
So we're set up, we have a lit and pre-lit model. I know you know what I'm talking about there. You've been through this before. All cases that come in go to the pre-lit department, and they are setting up treatment, verifying coverage, getting the case set up and going. And then we have an attorney in charge of legal operations that's monitoring those cases. And, why hadn't this case settled? What's going on here? Whatever the deal may be. And then when it comes time for litigation, he moves them to the litigation department. We also have, we implemented what's called settlement committee. We meet every Tuesday, and before no case can be settled for less than policy limits without presenting to the settlement committee. And the settlement committee, it rotates, but it's 3 lawyers that are assigned each week. And if you want to settle a case for less than policy limits, you make your pitch, and they decide, they vote, yes, you can, that's a good number to settle for, or no, you need to, do this, and this, and you can get more money for it.
Could you give me an example on one, like maybe one that just top of the dome, like, hey, we were going to consider and settling this one, and then bam, we hit a big.
Yeah. Well, young lawyer comes in and says, hey, this is my case. This is the venue. I mean, we have a Litify pre-populates a form for us for settlement committee, and it identifies the client. And, is this a credible client that would present well to the jury, or is this a good venue with a good judge, or is it defense oriented? It's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Past medical, future medical, everything's in there. And then they do their research on what they think the generals are, and they make their pitch. Well, a young lawyer had one, and he wanted to settle for $400,000, but coming to the settlement committee with, senior lawyers there, it's just bouncing ideas off, and they're like, hey, if you get a life care plan for what the doctor's telling you, then that number could drastically improve. So young lawyer, that's his opportunity to learn, hey, life care plan increases settlement value. He did it. He settled the case for $950. So that's our settlement committee, and that's what it was designed to do. And it works.
That's great. Yeah, that's that asynchronous, that upside, the value side, right, of experience where it comes into play. You're all about utilization and people executing and working. And I think what was the name of the tool that you guys...
ActiveTrack?
Yeah, ActiveTrack.
ActiveTrack, yeah. We spent a lot of money with vendors on different programs and whether it's Litify or all kinds of programs we spent a fortune on. So we implemented this program called ActiveTrack that kind of monitors the utilization of the different programs. I mean, how much time are we actually spending? Is our team actually using those programs to their fullest extent? So number one, it identifies programs that, hey, this is costing us a lot of money and it's obviously not beneficial because they aren't using it. Or two, these 10 team members are using this program and these 10 aren't, and the productivity shows it. So maybe it's a learning experience. Hey, did you know this program could do this, this, and this? And, maybe merge those two teams in for a quick meeting to see how they're utilizing that program and how it's benefiting them and how much more efficient it's making them, stuff like that.
That's incredible. I also want to just kind of lean in, like not only are you a trial first firm, but you're also an expert in trucking, over 2 decades. And one of the things that kind of caught my attention when I'm doing my research, right, is you even have your own CDL. So do you go, when you're trying these cases in court, have you used that? Like, hey, I'm speaking from experience. How does that play into it?
I haven't used that in front of the jury yet, but we market so much, we advertise so much. I'm pretty sure they know that. I mean, I walk down the street and people say, yeah, that's the guy that drives the truck. I'm a CDL driver that became a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer that became a CDL driver, right? I grew up on a farm in rural Louisiana, and that's just what we did. And,
right.
So I know my way around a big truck, and I know much more than most lawyers about the inner workings of big trucks just from growing up around them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's funny how those things work out with like your background, your experience, and how it applies to your future career. And I thought that was really intriguing because it's like, why don't more of these, trucking accident attorneys have their CDL? It just kind of makes sense if you're going to go all in there.
Yeah. Talk about the ultimate certification for being a truck accident lawyer, right?
Right.
I took the test.
Yeah.
Well, it just hit me one day that, all these guys are out there advertising that, send me your big truck case because I'm the big truck guy. But are you? Like,
right.
There's a lot more to it than just saying it. So, it just hit me like, I kind of am the big truck guy. I've been driving trucks since I was 18 years old. I know a thing or two about them. And the truth of the matter is, when it comes to litigating an 18-wheeler accident, you just see things a little differently when you actually know what they supposed to do, or know what they should have done and where they should have been and how they should have acted. And, that CDL manual is ripe with lots of nuggets whenever you're looking at a trucking case.
You can build systems, automate intake, and scale marketing, but at the end of the day, it all runs on talent. Trial lawyers are the rarest asset in business. Limited supply, high impact. The question every firm faces is the same. How do you find them, keep them, and build around your heavy hitters?
We've recruited insurance defense lawyers who we've been against and we're very impressed with. We've hired guys and gals right out of law school and kind of developed them through our pre-lit department, and then ultimately built them up to litigators. We have, in my very biased opinion, the best team in the world. Our guys are really passionate about what they do, and their success proves it. My view of the world these days is you're going to be a litigator or you're not going to be a personal injury lawyer, because with the advent of this AI technology and lots of other new opportunities and software out there and new avenues to push cases along in pre-lit. I mean, the pre-lit world is going to shrink. The needing a lawyer to handle the day-to-day task of a pre-lit case is just not going to become necessary, right? Like, AI can read the medical records and tell me a summary of the medical in seconds. So what would it take me an hour to do it? So is that the best utilization of your legal talents, reading medical records and figuring out what they say? Or can you run it through the AI program? And we have our own custom GPT built for us that kind of summarizes them for us and puts the key tools in the hands of the litigators that know how to use them.
I couldn't agree more. I 1,000% stamp it. That's why I think the value of the trial attorneys are going to increase. That's why I've been hitting on it.
I do too. I do too. Not only the value of the trial, like, yes, smart lawyers, hardworking lawyers that really know how to litigate, super valuable. But there's another tier to that. It's the guys that stand in front of that jury and are able to present a case. The orators. Sometimes those aren't the same people, right? Sometimes the super bright guy that knows this law backwards and forwards and is very skilled at building a case in deposition isn't the right person to present that to the jury. So there's a different type of person that is that could be very beneficial to you.
That front of house versus back of house, and look, Correct. We got them too, right? So on our side, you know, one thing I'll tell you that I was just, I don't know why I'd never thought about this. And you have people like, Mr. McCready, he's very into AI and ChatGPT, and I did Alex Hormozy sucked me in his book launch. And before I knew it, I went in thinking I was going to buy one book and ended up getting upsold to 18K or something, and a community and workshops. But I was in this community, and you have to enter and say, hey, here's the best thing that I'm doing for my business. And one of the posts that caught my attention is this business converted all of their SOPs into custom GPTs. And I was like, oh, wow, that's powerful, because you could just download your SOPs and you plug it in the GPT, I just was really intrigued by that. So that's one of the things that we're starting to do in our bigger processes.
I've heard of firms eliminating their HR department because you have a question, you have the firm's custom GPT is your HR department. What's our sick leave policy? Well, just ask the LEGPT and it gives you gives you the answer.
Yeah, you're right. It's just wild what the future holds. What do you see for the future? Like, you already kind of alluded to the trial first, but like, collision detection, what about that space? What's your thoughts on that? Waymos are here.
Waymos aren't here. They aren't in Louisiana yet, but right. So I think we have a little lag time there, but to your point, Waymo is rapidly, growing across the country. Elon Musk is, Tesla cars are driving themselves, and my wife's car, I was driving my wife's car last week and on the phone, I must say, and should have reared at somebody, but it wouldn't let me. It locked up the brakes. So, I told you, we track data like probably no other firm in the country. And I know that accidents in Louisiana are down. They're down like 20% year over year. And that's safer driving or better technology of cars, safer cars, newer cars, self-driving cars. I mean, there are fewer accidents out there. So you better be able to maximize the ones that you get. It's going to be a tougher landscape, a tougher environment to get these fewer auto accident cases. So you better set yourself to stand apart.
Well said. I didn't know it was that high. But geez, and it's a good thing, right? So then it opens up opportunity for other practice areas. And because, the insurance companies are all obviously going to lowball when they can, that's their model.
Well, the best thing for our business as trial lawyers is the greediness of the insurance companies. I tell my clients all the time that if insurance companies ever just learn to act right and do the right thing, they would put us out of business. But fortunately for us, they just can't do it. So there's fewer accidents. The premiums are still through the roof. They still lowballing clients on their damages, and that keeps us in business. But it is a scary time with the more the safer cars get, the fewer the accidents. It's a tough business. So you better maximize the ones you have, and you better find a way to stand out, set yourself apart.
Digger, so you've had incredible success, and one of the things we don't talk about enough is team. So, how do you take care of the team? Talk to me about that component of everybody kind of rowing in the same direction.
Yeah. So you're only as strong as your team, correct? The team behind you. Like we're the guys on TV. We're the guys in trial. We're bringing the cases in. But if your team lags behind, then that client experience suffers. And then you have a disgruntled client, and you've really taken a step back instead of a step forward. So we want A+ team members at every level, whether it's our lady at the front desk she's our ambassador of smiles, to the accounting department behind the scenes. We want A+ team members. So it's really difficult to get those team members. And then when you get them, it's tough to keep them, because when you train them up and they're A+ players, then other people want to poach them. Right. So how do you set yourself apart and make it a place that they want to stay? Number one, you pay well. You pay at the top tier, the 80 percentile and above of the market. You pay well. And number two, your culture. And we're really big on culture here at Laborde Earls. We do quarterly retreats. We do meals. We celebrate everything. We celebrate team members. We give back to our team a lot, because the truth of the matter is you spend more time at work than you probably do with your spouse, right? You spend more time with your coworkers than you do with your spouse during the week. So it needs to be a happy place. It needs to be a place where they want to come to work. We have team members that hang out together on the weekends, and their families support, and their godmothers to other. I've married 2 people in our office. They asked me to officiate their wedding. So that's team building. That's culture. Our retention rate is higher than it's ever been because of those things. You get an A player, you spend a lot of time, effort, and money training them up on your way of doing things. And if you lose them to a competitor, then you're taking a step back, and it's really costly. It costs a lot of money to train these players. So, invest in your culture, invest in your team, and the culture pays dividends that you can't even measure, just unmeasurable, return on investment with a culture investment.
Thank you for sharing and being so transparent. For our audience listening that needs a great trial first firm in Louisiana, or wants to connect with you, has questions about something we discussed on the pod, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, my cell phone is 318-359-5069. It's with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My wife will attest. You can find me online, onmyside.com. My email address is digger@onmyside.com. Shoot me a text, shoot me an email. Instagram, Digger Earls. I'm easy to find. I'm out there.
Winning big verdicts isn't enough anymore. You've got to compete like a marketer, operate like a CEO, and deliver like a tactician. This is PIM. I'm Chris Dreyer, CEO at Rankings.io. Every day at Rankings, we help personal injury firms dominate search and sign more cases. If you're ready to scale like the best in the business, head to Rankings.io. See you there.